prediction of what could be. And part of that's based on what you see the market in terms of what's happening for us. But more important, I'm looking at Clubhouse coming on the scene, raising $10 million last May, raising $100 million from Andreessen Horowitz this last month. I'm looking at OpenSea closing a $23 million Series A. I'm looking at
now transitioning to a live stream. If you hear silence at the end of the stream, please refresh this page.
These demos. This is an Attention Live Sonic Streaming demo specifically for Clubhouse moderators. Now, it's an AMA, so it's not just a demo for me to walk things through, but it's really specifically to answer questions that people have. When I do these longer 20-minute AMAs, which we're going to go probably for another 15 minutes or so, I answer any question that comes up. There's no question that's off, ask me anything. For real. Ask me tough questions. I mean, I'm okay if we don't have a good answer for you. In addition to the fact I'm using our product. So right now I'm using the Attention Live software, and that's allowing me to broadcast this room in real time to the Amazon Lexi skill. I say Lexi instead of the real word so that it doesn't fire off your speakers. So you can listen to me on Lexi right now. All you have to do is just tell it to enable Attention Live. If you don't have our skill enabled, tell it to open Attention Live. It'll say what channel. You can say E and utility, and you'll be listening to this in real time. We're also broadcasting to YouTube. So if you went to Attention Live's YouTube account, you could be listening to us. And in addition to that, I do broadcast the video. That way I can share my screen. So when people ask questions on Clubhouse, I will sometimes pop around our product, our dashboard, the back end, and I'll show people a couple of things. That way if they want to go resource that, either live right now or afterwards archive, I try to give as much information as possible. We are building a decentralized, autonomous community. The content consumer in our ecosystem will have the greatest amount of power and control. We are not approaching this like some of the large big tech companies where our content consumers are our product. No, they are those that we serve. The content creators are the ones that we are creating this product for, and this is not a top-down organization. We're trying to build a bottom-up organization. And so part of that is being vulnerable, transparent, authentic, even if it means embarrassing ourselves with demo issues from time to time. So here we are. Phil, you were on stage with us last time. Raise your hand if you'd like to come on stage again. David, Frank, thanks for joining us. You're welcome to jump on stage, as well as you, Joel. Ben, thanks for jumping in. Do you have any question, any input, anything that you want to participate in what we're doing? I'd love to invite you to do so.
I'm curious to hear your perspective, since you've been in the NFT space longer than most folks I know. As the hype has just blown the doors off in the last month or so, how do you see the NFT space evolving in the next, call it 12 to 24 months?
Great question. Thanks for asking that. So I just spoke at the NFT Global Conference on Tuesday. I was part of the final keynote panel, and we were talking about what's next for NFTs. And a big part of our conversation was around the fact that there's a heavy amount of emphasis on expensive NFTs. These NFTs, they're being sold for a lot of money, and the $70 million Beeple NFT. Or, I got an NFT from my friend Josie Bellini. You can find her art at josie.io. I bought an NFT from her. There was 20 of them. It's called Tune In, and I bought it for, I think, $200, and one of the 20 just sold for $330,000. And so you imagine me, I'm like, wow, that is a fantastic 100,000% return on my investment. For us, our thought is this, the leaders of the NFT community, in terms of our conversation. There's an overemphasis of high dollar NFTs. Part of that is that if you make an NFT on a V1 Ethereum chain, then it's going to take you 2 to 5 hours to make it. The gas fee is going to be $10, maybe $100. And so a lot of people like us are using Matic, right? An Ethereum fork called the V1.5, which allows us to get around the big gas fees and make a lot of NFTs at scale. Our focus is not the NFTs that sell for thousands, millions of dollars. Our focus is on NFTs as a source of ownership. A car has a deed. A car has a pink slip. A house has a deed. We think that Clubhouse moderators, podcasters, teachers, musicians, spoken word poets, preachers, they should have some sort of deed or pink slip over their content so they can prove they own it, so they can monetize it. We think NFT is the right move. So where I think things are going in the next couple of years is that more NFTs will be exchanged for under $1 then exchanged for over 10,000. And so I think we're going to find NFTs nobody cares about the technology. Nobody cares it's called an ERC 721 token. They don't care what chain it's on. They don't care if it's Ethereum or EOS or whatever. They don't care what marketplace it's in. Nifty Gateway or Rarible or Digitable or Super Rare, they don't care. People are going to need NFTs to be as simple to use and understand as turning on a light switch or running water. And so that's what we did in our dashboard. So if anybody's live right now on Attention Live's YouTube page, you can see our NFT token creator. And we just make it just so simple to create these tokens in real time, just like we made it simple to control the Amazon Lexi interface. The whole entire interface you control right from our dashboard, much like you would VoiceFlow. But we bake that into our system. Or if you want to control what's on YouTube for the broadcasting, it's easy. You control the title, the description. You can add your corporate YouTube page or your personal YouTube page. Or if you're interviewing somebody important, they could give you their API key just so you can broadcast the one time. There's a lot of emphasis around NFTs at our company. But the reality is that we do more than just NFT token creation. We're doing recording and transcribing of rooms. We are also broadcasting to all the social media sites like YouTube and all the voice devices like Amazon's Lexi. So Ben, hopefully that answers your question and also gave a bit of context to it. Is there a follow-up question or any input that you can give me based on what I shared?
Yeah, super helpful. And as you mentioned, the cost of the gas on a lot of these transactions is pretty high. And so to that end, it sounds like you are forecasting a shift to lower fee chains, and that your belief is that consumers will be less concerned with potentially the awareness of those chains and maybe even the security of those chains as they're continuing to evolve up in order to keep the fees down?
Yes. So if you are a fan of Tim Ferriss, he has a podcast, one of the top podcasts in the world. The founder of Ethereum was on his podcast last week. And one of the things that was interesting about the conversation is the founder of Ethereum was disappointed, not was, but presently is disappointed that Ether is worth almost $2,000 in Ether. Now that might seem weird to you. That's like, could you imagine if Mark Zuckerberg came on? He's like, I'm so disappointed our company's worth $1 trillion. The reason he was disappointed is he felt like because Ether has become, in some people's minds, a store of value, like Bitcoin has been seen, it messes up the utility of Ether, right? The founder of Ethereum, he likes the idea of something like, Bitcoin being a replacement for a gold bar, but he was hoping that Ether would be a replacement for pennies, right? His whole thought was that Ether would be like micropayments, not that it would be speculative investing. And so when Ether became so expensive, that's why gas fees became a problem. Because when an Ether cost $50 or $100, okay, fine, so there's a 25-cent gas fee. But now that Ether's $2,000, now it's several dollars to make an NFT. So he actually is a fan of the fact that the Ethereum chain has been forked into other Ethereum copies like Matic, which is what OpenSea had been using. It's what we use it for the NFT.cred marketplace. So I think that we need to get to a point in the cryptocurrency blockchain community. And for those that don't understand blockchain, let me just explain this in the most simplistic way in the world. If you don't understand blockchain, it's simply the fifth ledger. Okay, the first ledger was carving wood with a knife, or the finger of God on stone tablets for Moses. The second ledger was ink on paper. Okay, the third ledger was computers, using a computer to have a ledger with servers in your business or in your office. The fourth ledger is where we're at today. This is Azure, this is AWS, GCS. It is the cloud services. It's your servers in the cloud, you're using computers. The fifth ledger is blockchain. It's leveraging cryptography, which was a weapon of mass destruction in World War II because it's so powerful. The fifth ledger is simply that you don't have servers in your house, you don't have servers in the cloud, you have decentralized servers with third parties verifying, so there's absolute proof, authenticity, and trustworthiness. Now, cryptocurrency is simply the DeFi, decentralized finance approach to finances, right? Because what is money? Money is a faith-based system. If I have a $100 bill and I give it to you for $100 of services or products, you and I have faith that that $100 bill has that value. Well, right now people have faith that a Bitcoin has $60,000 of value, that an Ether has $2,000 of value. It is based off of communal faith. That is one application of blockchain. The NFTs are not the application of cryptocurrency. In fact, they're the opposite of a cryptocurrency, right? You can trade one Bitcoin for another, but an NFT, a non-fungible token, is a one-of-one item, right? Like the pink slip is for your car and only your car. A deed is for your house and only your house. An NFT is for your content and only your content. One way to find out more about this is to go to attn.live. We wrote a white paper. I started writing this in 2018, finished it, and then I brought in Ted Haas, who's our director and chief of ethics here on stage. I brought in Christos, who has 2 doctorates from Stanford. Christos made it real smart and academic, but you can watch the white paper, you can listen to it, you can read it in English and Spanish. I just had it translated into Hebrew. We're translating it into dozens of more languages. And if you want to find out more about blockchain generally, about NFTs specifically, and about our premise that decentralized voice technology will disrupt centralized interfaces, I think that's a great place to go and learn. Ben, any other insight, questions that you may have for me?
Oh, I have dozens, but I'll go ahead and see the stage of somebody else. That's fine.
Well, Ted, Nigel, and Gabe, they're not our product users. Ted is on our team. So is Gabe. Lewis, David, Phil, and Joel. Joel, I see your hands raised. I'm bringing you up. So Joel, you're up next, and maybe Ben will come back to you since I learn when you ask me questions. I like that. Okay, Joel, I said you could come up. It's not bringing up. Maybe you refresh your screen, Joel. Every once in a while, there's a problem with that. So if you want to refresh your screen, also Ted, Nigel, and Gabe, I just made you moderators. Oh, there we go. Joel, you're on. Unmute yourself and welcome to the party. Please understand, this is being recorded and broadcast, and by speaking, you're giving us your express permission that that is okay with you.
Not a problem. Can you give me the address again, the URL?
It's attn.live, Attention Live.
That's all I have. Thank you.
You have other questions? Hit me, and I think we'll probably wrap up with this next question. Oh, Nigel, you unmute yourself. Go for it.
I might get a little technical here if I can.
Please.
Just talk to me a little bit about the differences between the Ethereum coin NFTs and the lower gas fee. What are the differences?
Ethereum's old and slow and impossible to scale. That's why CryptoKitties broke Ethereum in 2018. It's why Dapper Labs wasn't able to use Ethereum in all their sports cards. They had to create their own fork. It's why people aren't using the original V1 Ethereum. It's old, it's slow, and it can't handle the amount of traffic. It's why if you do use Ethereum V1, it will cost you several dollars, $100 to mint an NFT, and it will take 2 to 5 hours to do so. So that's not an option. So that's why there's these forks. A fork is a copy of a blockchain. And sometimes that's done in partnership with the original blockchain, and sometimes it's done as a revolution, a community to rebel against bad management by those that are in leadership over that blockchain. Does that answer your question, Nigel?
It does make still total sense. I just want to kind of piggyback on that a little bit. Do you see there being any material difference in terms of functionality between the 2 coins? I mean, yes, sure, one can be used for a lower dollar value as far as intent goes, but can I just as soon sell one of the forked Ethereum NFTs for $1 million if I created that value?
Yes. So usually Ether is the currency that's used no matter what. You minted an NFT on the V1 Ethereum blockchain or the V1.5 Matic blockchain. You still are probably going to use Ether to acquire the NFT. And the value of that NFT is still likely tied to Ether because that is the most functional cryptocurrency on the market today. Does that make sense?
Because of the smart contract portion of it, I would assume.
The smart contract is what's tied to the creation and the functionality of the NFT. So for instance, if Ben and I do an interview, and Ben is known in the Silicon Valley as Apple's, especially for specific niche tech companies in early venture. So Ben and I have a conversation, and we create an NFT for Ben. And Ben happens to just drink the right cup of coffee, and he is flawless, right? It goes down in history. 100 years from now, Ben's talk is like the talk of 2021. Now, maybe Ben sells the NFT for $100, but then 10 years from now, it sells for $100,000, and 100 years fee that's tied to the ownership over that conversation. Ben's kids, grandkids, great-grandkids will be compensated buy that NFT reselling over and over again each time, because that's part of the smart contract, is that the content creator gets compensated for their content in perpetuity, much like ASCAP and BMI does for musicians, much like Warner and Universal sets up for their bands. We at Attention Live and our peers, the other companies in our space, are doing this to not only provide a revenue stream for content creators at first, but to provide a revenue stream. Yeah, go ahead, Nigel, please.
And that is agnostic to the whatever type of VJing or block you use for or way. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, no, because people can choose to structure smart contracts in different ways. So not everybody's going to structure their smart contract like we do. But think of it like voice devices, right? Amazon's Lexi and Google's Assistant and Apple's Siri and Microsoft's Cortana and Samsung Bixby, all 5 of those devices, they all have some things in common. And they all have some things that are unique. So in the same way, all NFTs have some things in common, but they also have some things that are unique. And so we at Attention Live, we structure everything that we do based off the belief that a decentralized autonomous community, a DAC, is the best way to structure a community, and that compensating the creators and serving the consumers is more important than building a huge, massive company. Although we are capitalists, and we do intend on making money at our company and having a very fortunate outcome for us financially, but we don't think we have to do that as the sole focus. So our sole focus, if we had just one, is to provide the greatest possible technology that's as easy to use as turning on a light switch or water, that nobody ever has to understand the tech behind it, because it just brings the benefit that they specifically want.
Gotcha. That was super helpful. Thank you so much. And just one last thing, if I can add some value here, I don't know if you find it valuable. Would you like me to demonstrate my beta test for the people on the call? Because you're always doing it for other people. I don't know if anybody would benefit from that. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm happy with the product, though.
Well, absolutely. I think what we should do is I'm going to do 2 more AMAs today, one at 4:15 for 10 minutes before happy hour of voice, and one at happy hour of voice. Nigel, why don't you do that for us then? Because that way I can be sensitive to the fact I called this a 20-minute AMA and actually wrap it up close to on time. For those that are in the room, Lewis, David, and Phil, I already acknowledged you. Bob, Ben, and Dave, thanks for being here. We had a lively conversation just now. Janice, thanks for being here. We had a lively conversation just now. Nobody else has raised their hand, so I'm assuming it's okay for me to close this down. I'm doing 2 more AMAs today. When I do an AMA, I am live broadcasting through our software, the Sonic Streaming Platform at Attention Live, directly to Amazon Lexi, directly to YouTube audio with my image muxed over it. In addition, I also broadcast around and show people things I'm talking about. If you're interested in this AMA I just did, you can go to Attention Live's YouTube page, and you can either listen to the conversation or you can watch me. I basically did 2 different video live broadcasts. I'm going to end this now because I like to end and start on time. I'll be back again in less than 2 hours to do another one of these with all of you wonderful people. Ted, Nigel, and Gabe, thank you for being my co-moderators. I'll see you in a couple hours. David, Phil, Bob, Ben, Dave, and Janice, thanks for being here. Since you didn't raise your hand, I'm assuming you all are okay with me wrapping this up. May you have a wonderful day. Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye, everybody.